Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really strange problem that big companies face: how growing your digital empire can actually create a massive blind spot, completely hiding what your customers are really up to. So, let's start with a big question. Your company's digital footprint is huge, right? You've got blogs, corporate pages, maybe even international domains. But does all that scale, all that size, actually give you real intelligence? Okay, picture this. Let's follow a potential customer. Their journey starts right here, on one of your educational sites, maybe a blog. They're just browsing, getting drawn in by some of your great content. Now they're hooked. They're interested, so they click over to your main corporate site to really dig into the details. They're comparing features, checking prices, getting serious. And success. The whole thing ends with a purchase on a totally separate third domain, like a special checkout portal. Looks like a perfect customer journey from start to finish. But here is the massive problem. If you don't have the right tracking set up, your analytics see a completely different story. Instead of one perfect, high-value customer, it sees 3 random, low-value visitors who all just left. Your data is literally telling you a story of failure, when in reality, it was a huge success. And this brings us right to our first big idea, the multi-domain paradox. It's this bizarre situation where the more websites and digital assets you own, the less you actually know about what's going on. Your scale, your biggest strength, becomes a source of total confusion instead of clarity. Now, being blind like this isn't just some tech headache for the IT department. Oh no. It has serious financial consequences that go all the way up to the C-suite. We're talking about real money and real wasted effort. This fragmented data leads to just plain awful business decisions. For instance, that blog that warms up all your best leads, it gets 0 credit for any sales. So an executive looking at the numbers might decide to cut its budget, accidentally killing off one of your best marketing channels. You can even end up competing against yourself for keywords in Google. It's chaos, all because the data is lying. And, there's a human cost here too. Instead of finding brilliant strategic insights, your highly skilled, very expensive analysts basically become data janitors, just stuck doing manual, mind-numbing work to piece the real story together. In fact, research shows that up to a third of an analyst's time is totally wasted just downloading, cleaning, and mashing together spreadsheets. That's a third of their time they are not spending on the high-value work that actually grows the business. So how in the world do we fix this? Well, the solution is a powerful concept called the Unified Command Center. Just think of it like a single pane of glass that gives you a crystal clear view across your entire digital portfolio. It's all about turning that chaos into actionable clarity. And here's what that looks like in the real world. Imagine a single dashboard that just rolls up all your data. An executive can see in 5 seconds, literally 5 seconds, which brands are growing and which ones are in trouble. This turns a passive, confusing report into an active, strategic tool you can actually use. Okay, so you're probably wondering how this is even possible, technically. It sounds super complex, right? But the mechanics behind unified tracking are actually surprisingly simple. Let's take a look at how the magic works. The real key here is a little mechanism that acts just like a digital passport. It's a small piece of code called the _GL parameter that gets tacked onto the URL. So when a user clicks from your blog to your main site, this passport carries their identity with them. It basically tells the next site, hey, I know this person. They're part of an ongoing journey. Don't treat them like a stranger. It's this simple 4-step process that makes sure that as a user moves across your whole ecosystem, their journey is tracked as one single, continuous session. The data finally matches reality, and you can see the true path from the very first touch to the final sale. But getting this unified view isn't just about fixing today's problems. It's absolutely essential for getting ready for the next massive shift in digital, optimizing for AI. The entire game is changing, fundamentally. We're moving from search engine optimization, or SEO, where the goal was to get into the top 10 blue links, to something new, generative engine optimization, or GEO. Here, the goal isn't just to be on the list, it's to be the definitive source the AI uses to create a direct answer. In this new world, if you're not number 1, you're invisible. So, to win in this new era, companies have to focus on a whole new playbook. This means things like clean code and structured data so machines can actually understand your content. It also means you have to play what we call narrative defense. Imagine an AI finds an old press release about a product you stopped selling 5 years ago and presents it as something you sell today. That's a disaster. Narrative defense means you're actively hunting down and removing that old, outdated content to make sure the AI models learn the current truth about your brand.
Ultimately, solving this whole multi-domain paradox really comes down to a strategic choice. Are you going to let your digital properties operate as just a chaotic accident? Or are you going to unify them and turn your massive scale from a liability into your single greatest competitive asset? That choice is what will define the winners of the next decade.